Slide on in, player. You are now tuned in to the Black Deth 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. This ain't just a podcast, baby. It's a revolution with rhythm. Now let's get into it.
Welcome to the Black Deth 101 podcast, where the streets talk and the reels roll. We dissect our favorite blaxploitation films that saved Hollywood and still influence it today. I am your host, Nubius Black, and giving him 5 on the right-hand side, my brother from another mother, Johnny Deth. What's up, Johnny?
Hey, Nubius. What's shaking, cool cats and midnight scholars? This is Johnny Deth. We're back in your ear with another deep dig through the golden age of blaxploitation, where the reels spun revolution and the funk came with a message. Tonight we're going back to the start of it all, before Shaft strutted down 125th Street, before Superfly hit the gas, before Pam Grier made the screen sweat. It all began here with a film that gave Harlem its swagger, its grit, and its justice. I'm talking about Ossie Davis's 1970 fire starter, Coffin Comes to Harlem. This one lit the fuse. It's got it all. It's got hustlers, heroes, sermons, satire, and a bale of cotton hotter than Wall Street in July. And yeah, as Nubius says, we're going to give up all the spoilers tonight because this flick's old enough to draw Social Security. So pour something smooth, light 'em up if that's your thing, and let's roll back to the streets where it all began.
And if you didn't see these movies, allow us to open the funky floodgates of black cinema. Also, please like, subscribe, and share these things that we're putting out there. And be forewarned, these movies use racially charged language. So, Johnny, give us the lowdown on the title and what this film is all about.
The year is 1970. America's changing its skin, but can't shake the itch. The civil rights dream is shifting to a black power reality. White Hollywood's still selling minstrel leftovers. They're wondering why black audiences stop showing up. Then Ossie Davis, actor, playwright, activist, husband to Ruby Dee, he steps behind the camera and says, "I'll show you the new Harlem." He adapts Chester Himes' Harlem detective novel, Coffin Comes to Harlem. But instead of a grimoire, he shoots this wild, fast, funny political movie about black people surviving by their own code. Harlem isn't a backdrop in this flick. It's the main character.
Yes, sir.
Dig this. You can see the neighborhood breathing, sweating, arguing, hustling, loving, trying to stay one step ahead of the system. That's real Harlem. It's not a studio copy. And watching over the community are our heroes. Meet Gravedigger Jones and Coffin Ed Johnson, a couple of detectives who walk the line between the law and the people. They know the system's rigged, but they still keep the wolves from eating the block. Godfrey Cambridge, one of the funniest actors ever to grace the screen, plays Gravedigger. Raymond St. Jacques plays Coffin Ed. Now, here's something a lot of folks forget. Hollywood wanted to make Raymond St. Jacques a star. He had the looks, the voice, the control. He was the first black man to have a regular role on a white TV Western, Rawhide.
Yep.
The studio head saw him as the next big thing. He could act, he could fight, he was charming, he could command a camera. But the truth is, Hollywood really wasn't ready yet for a dark-skinned black man to lead from the center. They wanted him, but not that strong, not that smart, maybe not that black. Coffin Comes to Harlem was supposed to be his big break, and it was. If the industry had half a backbone, it would have been. Watch him in this film. He's dangerous, he's real, and I think that's what they were scared of.
Yeah, and he never really cracked a smile. He didn't have the sense of humor. That was Godfrey Cambridge's role. And his character had some of the best fucking one-liners ever. I didn't realize until, again, reviewing this film for the show, some of the lines that this motherfucking Godfrey Cambridge was laying down was so fucking funny, but ironic. He wasn't saying things to be funny, but but maybe he was. He was very enjoyable. And you're talking about when this movie came out, like you said, it was literally filmed in Harlem because that's what Ozzie Davis wanted, authenticity. That's the key word here, authenticity. The people you've seen in the audience and in the backgrounds, they're authentic Harlemites. That's who they are. And Hollywood didn't want to film. They wanted to film it in California. He fought for this because Ozzy was actually filming this film, writing the music for it as well, and he was working on his play with Melba Moore, who did the music for this film. And so dude, there were so many 1-2 punches. You had Melba Moore singing the lead songs for Pearly, a play where she actually acted in and she sung the music and won a Tony in it. Then she was actually doing the theme music for Cotton Comes to Harlem. And at the same time, we had Godfrey Cambridge, who starred in Cotton Come to Harlem, and another movie released the same fucking weekend. The Watermelon Man was playing down the street. So you got a 1-2 punch on both fronts here. And again, we say this on every show we do so far. It is an embarrassment of riches, of stars and actors who came out of this film who went on to do bigger and better things. And this movie was fantastic. Don't get me wrong. Like you said, Raymond St. Jacques, who had that stern look of a dad that, like, when I came home from school, and he's looking like he's ready to chew nails, and you ask him, like, Dad, are you smiling? And he replies, I am smiling. And then you just keep it moving. You don't, you know what I mean? You don't question him. Godfrey would be the fun dad. Raymond didn't take no shit. But I remember watching this, I'm going, that voice and his mannerisms, where have I seen this before? And it took me back to the 1980s when a little film from John Carpenter called They Live came out. I'm like, that's the fucking blind minister who was preaching about the aliens taking over the world through, money and greed.
Yeah.
Again, They Live is very much what's going on in the real world today. I don't know if these motherfuckers in the White House are aliens or not. They sure are acting it. But that was Raymond St. Jacques playing the blind priest who was telling people to keep your eyes open to stay woke, which is so fucking funny because it's not the fucking insult you think it is.
No,
He's
it's not.
telling you to wake the fuck up. Don't be lulled into sleep and that safe security that you think you have because you don't really have that. That's being spoon-fed to you. Yeah, and Godfrey Cambridge, what was he? He was in Friday Foster. We have to get to that. He was in Beware
Oh,
the
definitely.
Blob. Remember that movie, Beware the Blob? He
Oh,
was in
yeah.
that. And he
Yeah.
died at a
He's
young
got the
age.
canister at the beginning of
Right.
Beware the Blob, and it pops open. So he's the first person consumed by the blob in Beware the Blob. And let me tell you something about that movie. You guys don't have to go see it. Yeah,
But
Beware the Blob. No rush for that one.
sad part was his acting chops were just getting noticed, and he dies of a heart attack at 43, man. He died very young.
It's a shame. As you said, he had some of the funniest lines because it was just the expression on his face. That kind of
Right.
I know better kind of look, man. It was great. And we should get to the hustle of the film. Reverend Deke O'Malley. So here comes Calvin Lockhart. He's playing Reverend Deke. He's smooth, beautiful, slicker than oil on Sunday shoes. He's running one of those Back to Africa campaigns. $100 buys you a dream. He's selling salvation, but what he's really selling is himself. Now, at a giant rally where the film opens, the crowd's throwing money at the
Right.
stage like it's a gospel Vegas act.
And what was he saying to them? What about me? What about me? He
Yeah.
just kept saying that, and they kept throwing money.
Yeah, because he's building the ship, the Black Beauty, and he's going to take everyone to Africa, and they're going to live like kings on a plantation. And he's raised around the country $87,000. That's in 1970s dollars. He's got this scooped up like in an afternoon. Out of nowhere, a couple of guys come up, say they're from the DA's office and they want him to come with them. Before he can even argue with them, some guys show up in this truck. They're dressed head to toe. They got gas masks on. You can't make out their skin color or their faces. These gunmen hit the place and they snatch up every dollar. The crowd panics. Chaos erupts. Shots are fired. In the mess, a random bale of cotton gets tossed from the getaway truck during the chase. And that bale of cotton will become the soul of the movie because that ain't no drugstore cotton.
No, sir.
No, Gravedigger and Cottonhead, they roll up, they take in the scene, they know exactly what they're dealing with. Harlem's own people hustled by their own dreams. So the Cotton's on the run, the investigation kicks off fast. They chase that bale all over Harlem. It gets thrown out of that truck. It's dragged through alleys, dumped on rooftops. Everybody thinks the stolen money's inside it. And, they're all, well, I'll say they're half right. The chase scenes through the streets, it wasn't Hollywood stunt work.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was on real Harlem streets, real bystanders, real chaos. Ozzie Davis, he didn't block off the roads. He just rolled the camera and let New York react. So when you see folks running, laughing, cheering, these people, they weren't extras. They were just locals watching movie history happen right there in their own neighborhood. And it's really, I would say, one of the first truly authentic action sequences in a black film. Harlem chasing its own myth.
And this, I have it written in my notes that it was one of the best car chase scenes of its era. I mean, I put that chase scene, if you change the music with French Connection. You know what I'm saying? French Connection was a little longer. This one wasn't as long as the French Connection chase scene, but you can see the legitimacy of the said chase scene and the action and the stunt work, because you do have that one dude who got hit by the fucking car and went flying 12 feet in the air. I think he died. He was one of Zeke's buddies. But yeah, that chase scene was fantastic. You talked about Calvin Lockhart. He's going to be in a lot of films that we're talking about in the future. I mean, that dude, he has that voice. He has the cadence of his voice. And when I was a kid, I was always say, like, he's from somewhere, but I don't know where that is. And I think he's from one of the islands.
You may be right.
I think he's from Barbados or something like that. But this is the same guy, while we're talking about Cotton Comes to Harlem this week, it's the same week that Predator Badlands comes out. Just a little weak connection. Calvin Lockhart played King Willie in Predator 2, who was trying to tell Danny Glover's character that, there's no killing what can be killed, no stopping what can be stopped. When you see the eyes of the demon, you don't see him until him come calling. And I was like, yeah, that's him.
Perfect.
That show was great.
Yeah. And by the way, Predator Badlands, I enjoyed it. It's short.
I'll see it tonight.
It's enjoyable. I won't give you any spoilers, but I will say that Elle Fanning at first was annoying the hell out of me. For a droid that's cut in half, she was too upbeat, but then it begins to work once it sinks in. In fact, you know what? We'll talk about it during the next episode after you've seen it.
Okay. Now, back to our program.
Yes, we can't talk about this film without talking about Judy Pace.
Woo, boy. She was
Let's give her a round of
pretty.
respect. Man, she
pretty.
brought the heat, the heart, beautiful,
attitude,
dangerous. Man, always 3 moves ahead of the men. She plays Iris, and she knows exactly what she's doing and who she's doing it to. She's one of those early Blaxploitation women who knew power didn't come from muscle. It came from mind and movement.
She had the movement.
Oh, yeah. And after the money gets taken and the chase gets finished, Reverend Deke has disappeared. And Judy Pace, Iris, is his girl. So the cops go over there. They know he's got to show up for his clothes. And I'll tell you, for a preacher, he's got a pimp's wardrobe to a certain extent. And they leave a white cop with her to watch her. make sure she doesn't go anywhere, let them know if Deke shows up. And man, she plays a mind game. She like seduces this guy. She puts a bag on his head and then she runs out.
While he's butt ass naked.
Yeah, it was great. And then there's Mabel. Now, she's a woman. She eventually finds the cotton bale. She tries to claim it for herself. She's all of Harlem rolled up into one person, smart, tired, ready to cash in after a lifetime of being shortchanged. Reverend Deke makes his way over there because she's the widow of his right-hand man that got killed off at the beginning. Also killed off, and I'm trying to remember the character's name, is one of the two junkie pickpocket thieves.
Yeah.
Because there's this.
Cleavon Little's buddy.
Yeah. Cleavon Little. Do you remember him from Temperatures Rising?
I remember him from Blazing Saddles. Where are all the white women at?
Exactly. This man should have been a superstar. He was naturally funny. He was found for Blazing Saddles because he was a star of a hospital sitcom called Temperatures Rising, which the studios just didn't understand how you could have a sassy black intern as the star. So in the next season, they brought in Paul Lynde as the head of the hospital and made Cleavon Little like the straight man, which nuts.
Makes no sense. And ironically, again, he's another guy in this movie who steals every scene that he's in. He maximizes his minutes. He starts to make that big move, in Blazing Saddles, and plus he had another TV show on the rise, and he dies at a very young age, cancer. Emily Yancey, who you were talking about, the wife of the guy who got hit by the truck that flew in the air, and that Reverend Deke is stealing all his clothes, and now he's not trying to get with his wife is trying to get with him. And I'm looking at her, and she's all over his ass, and I'm like, man, this guy here, man, he don't even have to chase no women. Women just run to this cat. And he's standing there with his dashiki on. That's not his. That's his best friend's fucking clothes. I'm looking at the wife, and I'm going, man, she looks familiar. And then I'm like, oh, my God, give her a fucking camera. She's the chick who took a picture of Mama Walde at the fucking nightclub with Skillet. And then Mama Walde followed her home and killed her in Blackula. That's her.
Exactly. And Judy Pace, to make the AIP connection of horror, she's the chick in Frogs with Ray Milland. Great actress.
You know what? I've never seen Frogs. Now I have to see it because Judy Pace, again, we're in the realm now of bigger, I guess Hollywood is saying bigger is better. And, some of the people out in the public saying bigger is bigger asses, bigger boobs, bigger lips. Judy Pace was none of that. You looked at her and she screamed sex appeal. She wasn't a caricature. She wasn't a cartoon. I mean,
no.
She made a white cop take off his clothes and put a bag on his head to try to hit some of that. And I remember when I seen them, she was like one of the first black women to go topless in any film. And people were against her doing it. And she was fine with it, because it wasn't like gratuitous. It was like she was, the character herself was using her sex appeal to lull this stupid cop in a false sense of security. He was getting fucked over the whole time in every scene he was in because of his naivete. Judy Pace
was everybody's foil.
Yeah, she was number one in my book, man. She was again, this is pre-Pam Grier. Pam Grier was a lot more curvy and sexual. Judy Pace was no slouch, man. No, sir. And neither was Emily Yancey. That's all.
Oh, no. And I challenge anyone to go watch this movie and not fall in love with Judy Pace.
Mm-hmm. She can even play an old woman.
Oh, yeah.
She played an old woman, and who did she fool? The same stupid cop.
Same stupid cop. Stupid white cop, man. So that bale of cotton is out on the street. And who the heck finds it but Uncle Bud, who travels around picking up other people's junk and then selling it to the guy at the junkyard? And Uncle Bud is Fred Sanford himself, Red Fox. He steals every scene he's in at the beginning. He only has $10, but they still sell him a share to get on the Black Beauty and go back to Africa. He finds that bale of cotton, and he negotiates for what do they finally end up at? $25?
$25.
He sells a bale of cotton to the junk guy for $25 and goes home, and he's not even home 5 minutes when the white criminal gangster guy, whom we never saw his face earlier because he had one of the gas masks
Right,
on,
right.
one of the guys that robbed the money, comes and asks him, "Hey, you ever find a bale of cotton? We'll buy it from you." And he's, "What's cotton doing in Harlem?" And slams the door and goes into hiding.
You know what was funny about the mobster you were just talking about? When they asked Cleavon Little, "Did you see who took it?" And he was like, "No, but they went after it and they was chasing them. It was like it was like 2 black guys and a white guy." And they were like, "How did you know he was white if he's wearing all that, outfit and that mask?" He goes, "Well, he ran white." Little lines like that, they just stick with me because they just come out of nowhere. Again, like you said, Red Fox it looked like he lived off on the docks or somewhere out in the middle of the water. The
Yeah.
ironic part was he was playing a guy buying junk, selling junk to a junk man to get money to pay for whatever he need, to live. And the guy that he was selling the junk to, the old Jewish guy, turned out to be a guy who would always buy junk from who? Fred Sanford on Sanford and Son.
That's right.
And if you look in the crowd, Damon Wilson is one of the rebel rousers in the crowd scenes all the time. It's like, this movie was like a fucking resume. It's like, this is what I did in this movie. And like 90% of them went on Sanford and Son. Fucking, what's that old lady's name from 227? The one that, for some reason, they were cutting out her dress to see her ass or some shit. I don't
Yeah, no,
understand that.
she had her money hidden under her dress, so they're painting her picture,
Okay.
which is ridiculous. While Cleavon Little is cutting the back of her dress off so he can get her money, but she catches him, she smacks him around, she gets her money back.
Yeah, it's a who's
Just
who in this film. Again, this film is, and you know what I like? Like you talk about camera and cinematography. When it's daylight, it's very warm and refreshing. Like it's like, wow, Harlem doesn't look that. You heard about all the horrors of Harlem growing up, and you see it in the daylight, and it's like, Harlem looks pretty cool. You know what I mean? Then at nighttime,
yeah.
it's black and black out there.
So Uncle Bud now knows there's something up with that cotton. From there, man, it's chaos, baby. The gangsters, the hustlers, these dreamers are all scrambling for that cotton like it's the holy grail of Harlem. Iris spills the truth to Jones and Johnson. The whole robbery was a setup, a fake stick up that Deke O'Malley and his jailhouse partner, some white slickster named Calhoun, cooked up. But Calhoun played him dirty and ran off with the loot. And now he's torturing Iris to find out where that cotton cash went. And cue the gunfire. Gravedigger and Coffin, they crash the party. They're in the secret room filled with guns. And Iris is going to shoot Deke for the other criminal to let her go.
Right.
And what happens? Deke gives her a ring. And she
Yep.
just gets stars in her eyes.
He's like hypnotized.
Yeah, yeah. Then Coffin Ed, he takes it to the Reverend himself, fist to face, soul to soul, just exposing the fake prophet in the shadows backstage. And they drag him out in front because they have this one last chase scene when they find out where the bale of cotton is. It's over at the Apollo Theater, and it's part of this wild burlesque act
Very
where
weird.
it's weird. It's crazy. It's got a great song called Cotton Came to Harlem and I Kicked Cotton's Ass. And
Oh, what I didn't get is like, you got this sexy, and I mean sexy woman. She's shaking everything she's got, dancing around with cotton strategically pasted on her body. And I'm willing to get my ears clean with that cotton, by the way. But anywho, it's just such a weird thing that, because when she's done, a gospel group comes out singing. I'm like, what is this, a variety hour? But it was so fucking bizarre. But it fit right in. It had, like you said, that neo-noir crime look to it. The cops, Coffin and what's my
Gravedigger.
boy? And Gravedigger. Those guys, they are perfect characters. I would love to see more of them. I don't want to see a
Well, we
remake.
do have a sequel.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah.
sequel.
Goodbye. What is that? Hello Charleston Blue or Goodbye Charleston Blue?
Yeah, Goodbye Charleston Blue. I've only seen that one once, and it's been years. It was not as riotously funny.
Yeah, because Ozzy didn't do wanted to come back on that one.
No, no, and then what they did was they took the book, and instead of just riffing on the scenes in the book, from what I remember, they just added all sorts of additional characters and plot, and I remember being a little disappointed in it, but you know what? One of these days, we're gonna do a month where we just cover sequels, and we will
Sounds like
get
a
to it.
plan.
Yeah. So Coffin Ed, they take it to the Reverend, they drag him out front. The crowd realizes that he ran off with their money and tell him, you could have been another Garvey or a Malcolm, but you chose the easy hustle. O'Malley is pleading with the crowd and they turn their backs on him. They take him to the jail. Earlier, they have him in the jail, and a crowd of citizens show up demanding he be released, and they nearly riot. And this comes into play because once they take a look at that bale of cotton, they realize the money's already gone.
Right.
Yeah, they find out that the cotton that Uncle Bud sold to the junk guy, he bought back for $5 more, and then the gangsters found him. He wouldn't tell them where the money was. They killed him, and they're still dragging the river looking for Uncle Bud. So they let the white boy, the cop that just never never seems to get a break in this movie. They tell him to guard that bale of cotton, and they go uptown knowing the money's not there to the head gangster in Harlem. He's eating Chinese food, and they're there, and there's like the black guy that works for him because we learned in Black Caesar, you better have a jungle bunny watch over the jungle.
Right.
This guy kind of saddles up next to Coffin Ed and Gravedigger and tells him, black folks are, they're thinking of organizing. They're thinking of taking the businesses on themselves. The mob guy, he gets nervous and he's like, okay, how much is it going to cost me to stop this talk? And they look him in the eye and say, 87 grand. And earlier in the movie, he had told them, of course I didn't steal the money. Why would I risk? I make more than 87 grand while I'm having dinner. So they get the money from him. They plant it back in the bale of cotton. They return the money to the community. The boys literally cleaned up the mess. And as they get back to the precinct, they got a little letter, a postcard from Uncle Bud telling them that, hey guys, you can stop dragging the river because Uncle Bud is sitting under the Ghana sun with that stolen cash, a smile on his face, and a fucking harem on his arm. Not a single worry in the world with that Fred Sanford look. Harlem's left buzzing, the cotton's gone, the hustles roll on, because, in this town, the line between preacher and players thinner than a dollar bill. And, that's Cotton Comes to Harlem, baby. Truth wrapped in laughter, justice wearing shades, one fine funky ride through the soul of the city, and two of the baddest cops in Coffin Ed and Gravedigger. Frickin' great.
Some of the lines that Gravedigger had was like, we've been trying to teach white people all our lives, and guess what? School is out. I mean,
The
that's
whole conversation when they're
I mean,
talking about the cotton, this is quality cotton.
this
I
is
ain't seen cotton like this in a long time.
man, you was born
You
up
ain't
here.
never seen cotton like this.
You was born up there in Brooklyn just like I was. It's great shit, man.
We ain't your congregation, Reverend. We're Harlem's justice. Man, that line landed like a gunshot, and they haul off Deke, and just freaking great. What makes Cotton Comes to Harlem so slick is the tone. It's funny, but it's never silly.
No,
Ozzie
no.
Davis, he laces every laugh with a little sting. When people talk about the black comedy in early cinema, this is what they mean. Not jokes at the expense of the characters, but jokes from the perspective of the black characters. You can laugh because you recognize the
Right.
hustle.
You know, you catch it.
Yeah, you've seen that preacher before. You've chased your own version of that cotton. Man, it's a mirror wrapped in laughter. Raymond St. Jacques, the star that should have been. Let's circle back to him for a second because his story really deserves it. After this movie, studios lined up for major work with him. Lead roles, romantic leads, TV spots. He had that Sidney Poitier precision with twice the edge, man. He
Right.
was
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the system never really followed through. He scattered roles, minor parts, eventually kind of faded from the big screen. And it was not for lack of talent, just lack of the courage in the people holding the purse strings.
Exactly.
Yeah, watch Cotton Comes to Harlem again. You'll see what they missed. They missed a man who could have carried a franchise, maybe a generation. Raymond St. Jacques should have been the face of 70s black cinema, and instead, Hollywood settled for safer versions.
Exactly.
But in this film, he's electric. Every glare, every word, every inch of him says, "I belong here." And 55 years later, watching this movie, he still does.
I mean, he rises up on his boss, the captain, would tell him something that he don't agree with. He would rise up. His boy was like, "Nah, man, nah, we can't do that. You lose your job and you lose your house." He goes, "I'll just move in with you." No, you can't move in with me because I'm quitting when you quit.
Right, right. In fact, his boss is telling him at the beginning, "Hey, you guys make sure that Reverend Deke's protected. He's a good man." I think they're looking at him, and the boss, the chief, he's got a freaking portrait of Richard Nixon hanging right there
Yeah,
in his office. So we know where he's coming from. He's probably thinking, yeah, let him take everyone back to Africa.
exactly. You got it. You nailed it right there. That was he was looking. He was playing the long game. Like maybe Deke may be taking all of these jungle bunnies back to Africa and give Harlem back to us. And speaking of, remember when they broke into that the hidden room and they had the karate guy attack him?
Yeah, yeah.
And Coffin grabs him and throws him against the wall. And then he says some shit in Swahili, like freshly squeezed Swahili. And the guy's like, "Where'd you learn all those dirty Swahili words?" He goes, "Go ask your mama." I was like, yo, back then, that was the most fucked up comeback you can give anybody.
Man, this film was made for about $1 million,
Yeah.
United Artists. It grossed over 5 in that first year, and that's a lot of tickets, a lot of talk, a lot of executives suddenly interested in black stories. Because without Cotton, there's no Shaft, no Superfly, no
None of that.
Coffee, no Foxy Brown. No, none of that. Because this was the blueprint. The moment Hollywood realized Black power sells, but beyond the money, this film gave Harlem dignity on film. It
Right.
said, we're not props, we're people, we're complicated, we're
Just,
flawed,
just like
brilliant.
everybody else.
Yes, we're human. Ozzie Davis did it with humor, style, and love. And the final scenes, Gravedigger and Coffin Ed down the street, cool, quiet. It's got that the case is closed kind of vibe. O'Malley's locked up, the cotton's gone, the city's calm again.
Did you notice something though? Going back to when Deke was incarcerated and the congregation came to try to get him out, and all the people in the neighborhood they gathered together and they were getting ready to riot. I'm sitting there watching this scene going, I've seen this scene before too. Spike Lee, Do the Right Thing. Same fucking scene.
The same gathering.
Shot for shot, except Spike Lee didn't have the foresight to use a chicken to stop the fucking riots.
Exactly. Our boys paid a guy to have a truck with a bunch of chickens. And as things are getting so tense that the riot's going to break out, he starts throwing chickens into the crowd.
And it worked.
And the crowd's like, chicken dinner, you know?
And they're fighting to get the chickens. That was a great way to segue from any violence. You know, they shot in the air just to get their attentions, but everything else was it was like, Rocky chasing chickens in the yard, to get get their speed and stamina up. And to quote my man Gravedigger again, what did he say? Looks like there's hunkies in the woodpile.
The frickin' criminal guy who Deke met when he was in jail because he
Oh yeah.
turned state's evidence after he got busted. This guy shows up at the Apollo Theater in blackface. Was he trying to disguise himself?
Trying to get out. And that was very controversial back then.
It's controversial now.
I just thought that was genius that, Ozzie Davis would actually have that scene in the movie. I thought that was genius because how else was this white guy thinking he was going to get out of the Apollo fucking theater? You know what I mean? And uh, the whole idea, and it's not just the fact that the white guy was pretending to be black to save himself. It was basically when they pulled the makeup off and he says, "Look, he's white under this." Basically, Coffin is saying, "Some of you may be black and it may be white under yours too." You know what I mean? Like, in other words, like you'll do anything for this money. And it's one thing, like Coffin said was, it's one thing when the white man is fucking you over and you don't say anything, but now you're allowing your own people to fuck you over too. He says, "No, we're not standing for that shit." And he told his boss, "I'm not standing for this shit. You just gonna have to fire me." And I thought that was well done.
It was great. So what did Cotton Comes to Harlem really do? It made black folks the center. It made Harlem mythic, and it made audiences laugh and think at the same time. I was, I guess, 11 when my parents went to see this movie and took me along. That audience was a mixed audience. They were laughing hysterically, and as a kid, I was laughing along. I revisited the film in my teen years and realized what a classic it really was. It made you laugh and think.
Yeah, it wasn't comedy for the sake of comedy, and it wasn't like slapsticky. It was funny, but it had an edge to it, especially because that edge was leaning on the edge of realism of what really goes on in the real world. I thought that's a hard balance. A lot of people can't pull that off as a director and a writer, but he pulled it off well. My favorite part when looking up at this film, there was this famous New York Times movie critic named Canby, and he watched the movie and he hated it. And basically, in a nutshell, he said it wasn't black enough. Are you fucking kidding me? There's only one white person in this movie, not counting the cop. It wasn't black enough, and that black people don't act like this, is what he's saying. Yet we all recognize it.
The film showed me that black folks could be detectives, hustlers, heroes, geniuses, fools, and still be human.
All them. And you were talking about the mafia guy. The mafia guy, Leonardo Camino, is the actor's name. He recently passed. This guy was like the utilitarian actor. It's like, we need a guy to play an Italian mob guy. Hey, I know the guy, Leonardo. We also need a guy to play a Greek tycoon. Yeah, Leonardo. We also need a guy to be an Egyptian. Yeah, Leonardo. That motherfucker can play anything. And you would believe it.
55 years later, it still plays like it was shot yesterday. So tonight, raise a glass to Ozzie Davis, Raymond St. Jacques, Godfrey Cambridge, Calvin Lockhart, Judy Pace, Cleavon Little, and every real-life Harlem hustler who ever turned struggle into survival, because that's the soul of blaxploitation, and that's Cotton Comes to Harlem.
Again, great movie. I can't say enough about it. I really enjoyed it. It was vibrant in color and design. And man, go out there again. We keep saying this. Watch these movies, come back to us, and you'll catch all the little bits and stuff that we didn't even mention or had time to mention. Watch these movies. We're begging you to, because these movies are they're art, and especially their black art. And black art's under attack. I don't know if you noticed that, from films to literature, everything. And we need to protect that shit. And I think we're doing a way of doing our show is our way of trying to save that stuff. So like, subscribe, share, go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, all the things. Give us a thumbs up. If we suck, we suck. We can't tell we suck unless you tell us that we suck.
Exactly.
And then we can fix it. And if we can't fix it, we'll suck some more. That's all there is to it. So do those things. And we'll be back. Same black time.
Same black channel.
Peace.
Peace.
In the heart of Harlem, people dream strong, trying to find a place where they truly belong. A preacher man comes calling, saying, I'll take you home to a land of milk and honey, where you won't stand alone. But every silver tongue got a trick in store. He taking their money, baby, and sliding out the door. Starting in the night, rolling under neon lights, and the truth is hiding deep inside the bale so tight. When you hustle the hopeful and treat love wrong, you're gonna hear Harlem sing a justice song. Now Gravedigger Jones and Coffin they ain't letting nobody tear their people down. Two brothers in badges, walking tall, walking wise. See the truth in shadows and the lies behind the eyes. Oh, they sure as hell ain't saints, but they stand for the block. And they're saying, Reverend Deth, baby, time to face the clock. There's cotton in the night, rolling under neon lights. Everybody's chasing hope, everybody chasing rights. You can fool the crowd, but you can't outrun that dawn. When Harlem's heart is beating, justice marches on. Listen here. When a man steals from the people, he ain't just taking dollars. He's robbing dreams, and dreams are sacred in this city. Sacred is love. So chase that bale of cotton through danger and fire, through hustlers and gangsters, and a world built on desire, till that money makes its way back home again, back to the mothers, the sons, the forgotten men. 'Cause Harlem's story don't end in fear. Oh no, Harlem stands right here. There's cotton in the night, but the souls shine bright. A whole community ready to rise and fight. Gravedigger, Coffin, keep holding on. Cotton came to Harlem, now Harlem's moving on. Look here. One man's trash is another man's bankroll. And guess who got the bankroll, baby? Harlem's moving on. Harlem's moving on. Just as strong.